Sophie, are you seriously trying to use the lore given to us via text to explain a game's climate and weather conditions? Have you completely lost it? Oh, probably, but what can I say? I have some theories about Astral Chain. While this game is not renowned for its lore, it certainly has some interesting pieces of it if you choose to indulge. Specifically, I'm talking about the start of File 6, Complicit. While I was playing through this file the first time, I took the time to read the articles that are available at the beginning of this file. That's when I read this place we're on, the Ark, is a floating man-made island of sorts created to hold humankind to protect them from the red matter that made most of the Earth uninhabitable post a meteor strike. Apparently, the Ark launched from Chile and has been floating around ever since. Most people would probably be like, okay, so what? That's just some lore. Flavor text, if you will. You could say that, but this presents an interesting conversation that's just waiting to be had. Where is the Ark located now? It launched from Chile, sure, but where did it go after that? Surely it didn't just hang out over Chile. It had to have gone somewhere, but, well, where? Let's see if we can't figure this out. My first thought was to determine what season it was in this time frame. Before going on a wild goose chase trying to extract the date of when all this is happening, I wanted to try using some context clues. I figured clothing would be a good place to start. After all, depending on the season, people tend to change their wardrobes if they're in a climate where temperatures vary significantly. So I looked at some NPCs. Based on clothing alone, it's not entirely clear what season it is. Nobody is consistent in their clothing choices. It's not like everyone is wearing long sleeves and long pants, or conversely, short sleeves and shorts. It seems to be a mix of both. Honestly, after looking at that, I realized it was going to be necessary to find a date for when all this was happening. Luckily, I had a way to do this. Diving deeper into the files given to us, specifically the ones available after we complete File 9, we get a date of when all this is happening. This occurs in early July of 2078. I also went and checked the Astral Chain wiki, just to verify some things, of course. Some of the events in this game occur within the days of June of 2078 as well. Okay, that does not explain the clothing variety at all. The temperatures in June and July tend to be either warmer or colder depending on the hemisphere we're in. I can somewhat explain this away, though barely. The Ark is floating in the air, somehow, and since temperature decreases with altitude, it's likely that the temperatures are going to be colder in general than what we see at sea level. Perhaps it'll have temperatures similar to what we see in higher elevations, like the Rocky Mountains. We need to ask ourselves what season it is, though. It may be June and July, but depending on where we are in the world, it's an entirely different season. During these 2 months, it's somewhere in the northern hemisphere, but in the southern hemisphere, it's winter. Well, we can look at the trees to see if they change color or if they're solid green. Except there are relatively few trees on the Ark. Seriously, do these people just not like plants or something? This island could stand for a little more greenery, but I digress. How can we figure out what time of year it's supposed to be then? Then we somehow from there have to determine the Ark's location? This seems like it's impossible. There has to be a way. Let's see if I can't use the weather to help us. Depending on the time of year, we do see different types of it after all. This could very well be our solution. Okay, starting off with the general weather we see in game. Hang on, I gotta go search for this game real quick. I'll be right back. Phew, sorry about that. I needed to actually find the weather in this game. That took a minute. There isn't a ton of weather in Astral Chain, but we do see rain in some of the files. That doesn't help us as much as you think it would. It can rain in both summer and winter, though it is a bit more rare in the winter given the colder temperatures, depending on where you are. What's going to help us determine the season is a different weather condition in this game. Of course, I'm talking about the thunderstorms that occur here. While typically used to set the mood in the game rather than cause any serious damage or harm, it is a form of weather that happens, which can help us figure this out. Now, if your first thought was thunderstorms setting the mood, then you may have missed one of my favorite parts about this game, and many others in general. Weather is often used as a way to set the mood in certain scenes, and can often be a great way for visual media to do so. Astral Chain's use of weather during dramatic moments is one of the more impressive displays I've seen over the years. The use of thunderstorms is particularly satisfying. Now, in my opinion, one of the best instances of this is when the thunder starts in File 6. This file is already one of the game's best to begin with, but adding in a thunderstorm when Kyle's plan falters and starts falling apart? If I could give it a chef's kiss, I absolutely would. It's just too good. Man, I really am too easy to please. Anyway, let's see if we can't use thunderstorms that occur during the dramatic moments of the story to figure out what season it is. Late June and early July is generally considered to be nearing the middle of summer in the northern hemisphere, and nearing the middle of winter in the southern hemisphere. We generally see thunderstorms during summertime rather than during the winter season due to a thunderstorm's very nature. Usually it's a tad too cold for thunderstorms to form during the winter, especially consistently. That's not to say that we don't have thunderstorms in winter at all, though. I've seen it happen. Thundersnow has been seen in some regions, assuming conditions are right. However, based on my meteorological knowledge, I'm going to say this is summer we're dealing with here, given that multiple files have thunderstorms and rain. Assuming each file happens on a different day, it's statistically more likely for thunderstorms to occur on successive days, or even on days that are close together, in the summer than it is during the winter. Now that we've determined what season it is, we can say that we're in the northern hemisphere, indicating that the arc has moved from its starting location in Chile. Yet we still haven't answered the question, where does the arc travel to? It has to be someplace that has thunderstorms somewhat consistently, where the temperatures vary enough for people to have different wardrobe choices. That doesn't leave us with many options, especially considering where thunderstorms occur. On top of that, given that most of Earth is now uninhabitable thanks to the red matter, they're probably trying to avoid places where red matter concentration is high. For what we can see on the arc, it seems to concentrate itself in the air and on land, so they're likely avoiding places where there is land. I guess that means it has to be someplace over the ocean that gets a decent number of thunderstorms in the northern hemisphere. Well, that narrows it down to the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean, and any bodies of water that are anywhere close to those oceans. Well, bad news, both general areas have thunderstorms. How are we going to narrow this down? These areas are huge, and thunderstorms aren't always consistent unless you have the right ingredients constantly. Wait, the right ingredients constantly? What if that's it? Is there any one place that has the right ingredients to form a thunderstorm? Let me think about this. To form a thunderstorm, we need moisture, instability, and lift. Moisture, or the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere, is available in spades given that we're over the ocean. Water vapor is going to be in the atmosphere here. Instability occurs when there's warm air that rises when it's given a bit of a push. Said push is known as lift, which occurs due to different air densities that happen when the sun heats the Earth's surface. The ocean generally can have all these things, but instability and lift can be a tad difficult to come by sometimes, especially over the Great White Ocean, since there's not much of a difference in air density between the ocean and, well, itself. The sun has the capability of uniformly heating the ocean, I guess. That's still a bit of an issue for thunderstorm formation, at least for them to happen within a few days of each other. Well, unless we're in the tropics, then it would be a bit more likely, but we could garner that we're not in the tropics. It doesn't seem to be warm consistently given everyone's difference in clothing. Jeez Louise, can we truly not pinpoint where this arc is supposed to be? This is the most roundabout way I've gone about finding a solution to a problem. Sheesh. But fear not, my friends, we're not done yet. I think we have a solution. I was looking at some weather models one day, as a meteorologist does, and looked across the oceans to see where heavy rain showers and potentially even thunderstorms can occur. I found a location that can have these things, and it's not where I thought it would be. I suspect that the arc is located over the Sea of Japan, also known as the East Sea. This body of water separates Japan from the nations of South Korea, North Korea, and Russia. I know this area of the world is not exactly known for receiving thunderstorms, and I'm not dismissing that. However, this place definitely has the potential to have thunderstorms somewhat consistently if conditions are right. Assuming we have warm air that rises here, which we should given the difference in air densities between the land and the ocean, which helps start the lift process, thunderstorms could potentially happen at this location somewhat consistently. I suspect what would be happening is that the storms are forming off the coast of Korea and Russia, occurring over the Sea of Japan, and dissipate before they reach mainland Japan. If the arc is located here, it would experience thunderstorms every once in a while. At minimum, it would experience rain showers consistently. Looking at these storms in game, they don't seem to be severe thunderstorms, mostly general thunderstorms, which would likely be the thunderstorms we'd see over the Sea of Japan anyway. I don't see anything to suggest that thunderstorms would be anything more than a passing storm or two in the real world, let alone over the arc, which honestly, that's probably for the better given the Chimera attacks. Of course, we're assuming that any of this is true. If it is, it suggests that Astral Chain's arc is located over the Sea of Japan, not just generally over the Pacific Ocean. Please keep in mind that this is just a theory. I can't say with 100% certainty that this is where the arc is. Given the clues we've seen here, this is certainly a possible option and probably our most likely given what I'm seeing, but I don't truly know for sure. Honestly, I just think it's really cool that I can even come up with a theory about this based on the weather. If you couldn't tell, I'm a bit of a nerd, but that's okay. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and want to see other content like this, be sure to subscribe. I have more on the docket that I'm super excited to share with you. I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good day.